Hi everyone, my name is Nelsa and I live in Virginia, and I wanted to do a channel, and this channel is called Selah's Little Haven. The purpose of this channel is to bring inspiration, encouragement, positivity through life's ups and downs. And I wanted to also reflect some prayer time and some scriptures from the Word of God as well included. The reason why I'm starting this channel is because it's something that has been placed in my heart for such a long time, but quite frankly I've been super scared to do it. So I figured this is the time to do it, as everything around us, whether if you're here locally, nationwide, or basically around the world, we're all going through something, whether if it's COVID related, whether if it's financial, marriage, children, etc. So what I want to bring today in my first video here is a little bit about myself and obviously what I have overcome and what I wanted to share from coming over my hardships that really hit me, I want to say about 3 years ago now. So I want to first introduce my little girl Selah, because she's the what had all this started off here. Come here, honey.
Hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
How old are you?
8.
8. And what's your favorite thing to do? You like to do art?
Art.
Okay. Well, thank you, Selah, for bringing the answer to my prayer.
Aw.
Love you. Okay.
Bye-bye.
So, a bit about my testimony. I grew up in a Christian home. My father was a former pastor. He pastored a lot down El Salvador. And my mom grew up in a Christian home as well. They both came in to the United States, I want to say in the late 60s and turning 70s. And they both became citizens, of course. And so we grew up in a home where we had a lot of love. We may not have much, but we had a lot of love, and certainly that was not missed. And growing, you know, kids go through their phases, right? You know, you learn about the world, you learn about, you know, friendships and school, things like that. Now, I know some of you may not have grown up in that kind of environment, and everybody has their own, you know, walk in life. So, as I was growing up and went through my school, I did a bit of art. I fell in love with art right away, actually. I fell in love with it when I was, I want to say 5 years old. In kindergarten, it was one of these coloring books that we had that my father had always gotten for me, for myself and my brother. And it was one of those coloring books where it's just like Bugs Bunny, Looney Tune characters, right? And my dad, he'd always color like different colors on like Bugs Bunny, or if it was some other like animated thing on the coloring sheet. And so I ended up telling him, I was like, why are you coloring Bugs Bunny with all these different color ears and, you know, hands and legs or whatever? And he was like, well, what's the problem? Why can't he have, you know, different legs, different hands, different whatever color hands? And I was like, you know what? Why not, right? Art is something that's, you know, interpretive, and what comes out and what you have in your mind and how it comes out on a form of any kind of media, if that means coloring, coloring sheets. And so I, you know, went through elementary school into high school, and then I stopped at university. So when I went to my university, I stopped at oil painting, and that was one of those mediums that I was very kind of like made me anxious, you know, like how am I going to do this kind of art? I was just intimidated, so I didn't touch it. And as you know, life goes on. You know, you go through completing your college if you're able to, which I got my degree in communications. And so I, you know, put art back in the back and had my family, of course. and fell in love with my Brazilian husband and have a little girl. And then as you go through marriage and everything, you have those things too, your ups and downs. And, it's just something that, we as people that have a faith, as I do, and those of you that do or may not, but, something that, is in the Word of God where, in marriage, you just, if the closer you are with the Lord, the closer you are with each other. And I believe that's true. And I believe that the Lord always sends, angels around to your loved ones to help you out with any kind of difficulty. It could be a person, it could be, I don't know, even an animal. I mean, anything or anyone to overcome whatever adversity. And so about 3 years ago, I want to say in July 2017, I was at the height of my career. And I was able to go to another level in my career. And of course, that compensated, with how much I would be getting annually and different other things. Well, to make a long story short, I took this opportunity and I did the best that I felt that I could at the time. But as things were progressing along, unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep up with I guess you can say the demand and certain tasks that I had assigned to me. And it got to a point where it was slowly what's the best way to put it? I was slowly changing. Not only was I slowly changing, but I didn't have a time for a lot of things. You get home, you go to sleep, and then you get up and you do it all over again. Like it was just a hamster wheel. And I wanted to feel that I belonged in the way that, God had placed me in this. So I thought, this opportunity. And unfortunately, it didn't go that way. So in the fall, in September, things started getting bad. Bad to the point that I hardly slept. I started getting night sweats. And then I started vomiting. And the vomiting rolled into, affecting my work as well, where I would go to work, vomit when I'm there. And then, sometimes it would happen even during the day and of course at night. And then it went into October where it hit really bad, where I basically felt alone. And as as those that have faith in, in a higher being, and in this case, I believe in Jesus, I thought that if I worked hard enough and I applied myself, which I did, that I can overcome it. Well, let's just say it overcame me. So I ended up wanting to take my life. I lost a taste for food. I remember crying in the bathroom and asking, Jesus, where are you? I've done everything to the book, to the T, and I don't hear you. How can you have left me? And it was just this enveloping of darkness that surrounded me. Not only did it surround me, it consumed me. And just the constant bombardment of thoughts and images and things, and it got bad to the point where I attempted different times to take my own life, because when I did such acts, everything stopped. I didn't hear any more of the constant talk and the feeling of I not only let down myself, I let down my family. I didn't believe that I was a good person. I didn't believe I was a good mother, let alone a good wife. And so why would I want to be here on this earth anymore? And the thing about depression and anxiety is that it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter how you're brought up in your home. Sometimes those are factors that do affect that. Of course, it could be other factors where it's something that, just passes down along the family line. Maybe your mom may have had this, or your father, or someone in your family. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying that I am. I'm just telling you from my perspective, of course. And so my husband, he was like such a trooper, so much so that he had reached out to one of the ministries that had helped me when I had my daughter, because when I had my daughter 8 years ago, I had bad postpartum. And so I spoke with Chaplain Liz, and I'll put her information down on the link below this video of her ministry. It's called Spiritual Care Support Ministries, and they helped me a lot. I mean, they helped me get my life back. And so he reached out to Chaplain Danielson to see what could he do for me in the state that I was in, because it was almost maybe a month and a half that I was going through this. I was frozen. My body didn't feel like it belonged to me, and it was, sometimes it's just hard to put into words. And if you've ever felt down before and the world is going around you and you don't even want to get out of bed, and I think you know what that means. So one morning I went, my husband was taking me. We're going to the highway so he could drop me off at the station. And I was crying out to God. And I said, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I would, hit my hand against the door on the passenger side. I was very reactionary and upset and just distraught, and just my happy was gone. Put it that way, my happy was gone. Who I was gone. And reality was, it's not, I wasn't gone. It's just I needed to surrender to get the help instead of trying to always have it on me or place it on my shoulders. So I ended up telling him to turn the car around and to go back to the hospital that's nearby our home. And the reason why I told him that day is because that early morning is because I heard from the Lord. He said it was time to, he said surrender, and like this white flag. He said, surrender. If you surrender, I will help you. If you surrender, it's going to be okay. And it was just very calm, very calm and direct, but I understood. And that point I surrendered. And I'm glad I did, because I ended up going to the emergency room and spoke to a nurse and was able to get into a program. Got into the program, and I wasn't alone. Anyone that's been in this kind of situation, anxiety, depression can take you to a dark place, and it makes you feel like, why should I even be living on this earth? But you're not alone. In actuality, when I went through my group sessions, and not only my group sessions, we had individual counseling. I spoke with therapists, psychiatrists, things of that nature. And I learned so much because there were different walks of life, that I was around during these times, especially my group sessions. And I realized that, they too went through this, and some were actually in a deeper stage of the depression, or, a different type of mental state, but I didn't feel alone anymore. And just because I surrendered, it changed my life. I know that many of you out there may be thinking, how is it easy to surrender? And quite frankly, it's a process. I mean, for me, for the fact that I've always prided myself that I work hard and I put my effort into it, I can do anything. No, I just said I can do anything, right? So I needed to take the I out of my mouth and out of my thinking and say, God can help me. do anything. God can provide me the help. God can do things that I could never do on my own. And for the first time, I felt a release and a relief. And when I left the program, they provided me, valuable information and, continuing counseling and so forth. And I remember saying to the Lord, if you just give me another chance, I want to turn my life around. And I did, and I have. So since 2017, I had picked up art. And I started with the oil painting, right? And so I went into the oil painting. I started like an 8x10 flat canvas, right? It's just a board, if you will, of a canvas that you can paint on. It doesn't have the wooden in the back where the canvas fabric lays on top and so forth. And I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong for all those that are artists out there. I have my formal training, so I apologize. With that said, it got into more, into oil and then into acrylic. And then I wanted to learn about macrame. I wanted to learn about natural clay. And those things I'm still like a beginning in and a novice in. But the painting helped me to give a purpose, so to speak, where I can and able to release whatever that's inside, whether if it's good or if it's happy. It's a positive step, You have to have that for yourself. It's self-care, if you think about it. I'm doing something that makes me happy and proud. And art is in the eye of the beholder. I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. So what I have behind me is one of my art pieces. And this art piece I actually did, I want to say this year. And my process in it is basically, I just tend to listen to a lot of worship music and I pray, and the Lord has guided me through such different techniques and things that I never thought I could, learn. And I let the fear go, and I allowed myself to learn such things. So I just want to give, encouragement to those out there. If you ever wanted to, take the next step and get help, please ask for help. Go to your local community and see what they have available. There's so many things out in the, out now, whether if it's online or if you go to an organization. I know COVID's happening, so a lot of things are online at this point. But if you seek help out and you ask someone, that's the first step. The first step is to surrender, and the second step is to act, and the third is to continually work on it. I have days where it still affects me, where the depression will come back, or the anxiety. It could be something like a trigger, I guess that's the word now, and I work through it. And it is a work. The medicine does help, but you have to also put in the work too. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying that I have a degree in that, but just from my experience, it has helped tremendously. So just kind of wanted to, I'm gonna place an email down in the video below, and where you can send me if you want prayer, or just really to feel that you're not alone and someone is caring for you. And just let me know where you all are at in the world or here in the US. That would be awesome, so I know who I'm my audience is. I thank you for your time. Sorry, this has kind of been a long video, but just wanted to explain where Selah's Little Haven, the thought of and the focus is. And I'll see you next time. Bye.